Alright, so today we are going to be working on one of the three primers that we cleared out in a previous video, where obviously we cleared out three perimeters of different locations inside of that one episode, mainly just so we can get a lot of projects being worked on simultaneously instead of everything, usually doing one project at a time. We've been sort of spacing everything out a little bit to try to get everything done that we want to before, obviously, the 3-year tour in October. So the reason we've been doing this is that way you're not forced to just work on one project. We have a variety of projects that are going on at the same time. So if you don't want to do decoration, for example, you can work on one of the farms that's going on at the same time, or, you can work on another project, which is still the bedrock break-in. So yeah, this one, as you can tell by the floor decoration that is already completed, is the squid perimeter. So this one right here, obviously we're going to be farming squids. Not only just squids, but glow squids as well. Basically, we can do that because glow squids don't really have as strict of spawning conditions as regular squids do. So of course, we built this where rivers were. So on this side right here, with the use of the bound and box outline reloaded mod, this part is a different biome. But this one right here is the river biome that we will be looking to use. If you look in the top left there, you will see the river. And I think we picked out a 12 by 12 location. Might be somewhere a little bit further up above the squid that we don't cover too much. That way we don't hopefully need to, redo the decoration for this one. I think it was right around this section right here that we were going to use. It's only a 12 by 12 for the squids. You really don't need that big of a farm for them to be, obviously, decently fast. With the glow squid farm, it's a little bit bigger. That's because the spawn-in space efficiency isn't as condensed as the squid farm is. Squid farm, you have a spawn-in pad every other. With the glow squid, you have one every 5, I believe. So there's space in between for the other stuff that is used in that farm for the designer's reason. So yeah, there's not really a designer for the squid farm. It's just basically the general squid farm. The one we are using for the glow squid farm will be linked in the description down below. Of course, once we get to that, I will explain how the farm works and everything like that. I made a slight modification to it, but nothing too crazy. Still, the main concept is all them. But yeah, so here with the decoration, the floor is done. However, we still need to build the walls. Now, yes, I have actually designed these walls. As most of the previous perimeters, I've also been designing the walls. That's mainly due to we don't really have any decorators now at this time. So I've had to step up and go a bit more out of my comfort zone again and start designing some wall concepts here. So I designed the ones for the squid and the other two perimeters that we have going on. As well, if we ever get to it, when we do redo the skeleton perimeter, I also have a floor and wall for those. And then if we ever get to it, I still need to design some perimeter walls for the Hoglin perimeter, which we hope to get to at some point. We don't know if it's entirely going to be done before the 3-year world tour, but if it can, obviously that's going to be even better. But yeah, so here we have these walls here. These are probably one of my two simplest ones, but I think it does fit the glow squid, or the squid and glow squid theme here pretty well. Okay, these ones pretty straightforward to build. I'm probably going to knock these out one wall at a time like I did with the Guardian, because they're pretty much the same style. I just pretty much just used a different pillar design, as well as I changed up the connection of the pillars in the center as well. That's really all that goes into it. Most of these perimeter decorations take me a few hours. I did make a whole video on designing perimeters. If you wanted to do that, make sure to check that out. That's called How to Design Perimeter Decorations. Very, very clean and simple. So if you want to check that out, it's just the design process I go through when making these decorations myself. Obviously, the floor isn't really mine. I get a custom artist to commission these art projects for us, and then I can take their design that they do, and then I convert it into MC blocks. So yeah, the glow squid kind of blends into the background until you continue to go out further, then it looks a little bit better. That's really how everything does with map art. But you can kind of see the bottom here is the best part about the glow squid, because obviously it glows. But I think it's a regular squid on the left there, and then you have a coral reef in the background. I know they don't spawn in coral reefs, especially the glow squid, But just to bring more colors and stuff to the background, I asked them to make it in a coral reef biome. That way it's not just, not just a blue ocean, which obviously you don't really want if you want something to stand out. So yeah, all the materials, as you can see, are right here. So it's now just time to start to build it. And we will, of course, have to glass all of the floors as well. With it only being 65,000 glass for these perimeters, it's not too bad at all. So we can continue with that and then go from there. So yeah, let's get on to this. And we will come back once the decoration is done. And then we will start to work on the farms and the collection and everything like that. Alright, so the full squid perimeter decoration is also completed here. I am on the wrong side for the squids to be right side up, but this area is fully done here. So now it's time to actually start working on the farms, which are going to be pretty simple, so they'll be done really quickly. What I'm thinking about doing as well is adding a different farm in here to where we can send the squids and stuff to the nether and then back. That way we can create sort of like a squid and glow squid such axolotl switch. That way we can control when we want those guys to spawn or not in the world, which would be beneficial to the lag of the server because they're going to be lazy loaded rather than loaded where they can be moving around and process like that. So it'll save a little bit on the server performance. So that one right there is going to be the squid, I believe, is that dark blue number. That probably is the right one, is probably that white and the dark blue one for the glow squid and the regular squid respectively. So yeah, I might do that. I guess still got to figure out what we need to do. So the issue with the squid switch is that squids start taking suffocation damage and fully die after 15 seconds. But their portal cooldown is also 15 seconds. So there's a bit of an issue right there. But yeah, so if we can get that up, then we'll build 2 of each farms in a sense. So we'll have a squid, glow squid, and another squid and glow squid. To where one will be just strictly for farming, the other one will be part of the switch itself. So yeah, we'll see what I can come with. We might build the first farms first because those are already in place, and we can start building those because these are pretty simple. So this one is fully done. We can remove that, and if we go up to there for that, we can see these guys are pretty simple. Obviously, you guys all know squid farms. We were thinking about doing the update suppressed bottom part of the portal with the piston retraction thing. But because we might need to turn the farm off, we might need to add dispenser grids and things like that. So that obviously wouldn't work if we were to do that one off. This one over here is a slight modification of one that I found in the Technical Minecraft Archive Discord. So link will be down there below. All I did was I just changed where the clock was located. That way it's symmetrical on all sides. And that's really all I did. And I also made them sort of cascade out instead of cascading across. So obviously the clock was over here. They cascaded down that way. I just moved the clock internally, made it a little bit smaller. And then I cascaded them out. That way both sides are like just the way the wire is working. That's really all it is. And the on-off switch being a little bit centralized. That's really all I did to this farm. And of course change the color palette of everything like that. So yeah, these farms are pretty simple. We can use deep slate, which drastically changes how the farm looks. Of course, if you really cared about the rates, you could also build this farm lower. But since we need to build it high up anyway because of the squids over here being only spawned in a certain area, I said might as well just make this high up as well. We're not going to need a lot of glow squid ink in the first place, so this will work perfectly fine for our use case. So you get all the materials in these shulker boxes here. Obviously that one's really, really simple. We'll just need to get a couple shulker boxes, like a shulker block or so of dispensers to add to both of the farms there, and then the 2 switches over there as well. Also use update suppressed portals that we can just fall right on top of that. And if we can get everything to work properly, then we're all good. And we'll see once we have all the farms built up. Alright, so the full glow squid emitter is basically done. We're not going to be able to get to the mob switches at this time, mainly because they are proven to be a lot more difficult than originally anticipated. Obviously, this one could be relatively simple because of the axolotls having such a long lifespan out of water, but currently we are still trying to make some things work for the squids themselves, mainly because the water breathing does not actually work. That is not a real thing. So yeah, everything here is all finished. We have on-off switches for the actual farms, in case we were to go for the switches, of course, which isn't really needed, but yeah. I did place this on top of here, that way we could also make a look at the map and make sure it doesn't look that much different. The farms doesn't really be covered, they don't cover too much, but I think the outside here, because it was all just a dark color because of the light level 0 needed for the farm here. So yeah, both of these farms are fully completed. And then we have the storage thing built up in the center. So the one half on this side is for the WILLOW ink, and the one on the left is for the regular ink. And there is a separate on-off switch for the actual minecarts themselves. That way we can unload it and guarantee that all of the minecarts are still going to function properly. So very simple 2x unloader here for the minecarts. I slightly modified it just to have the on-off switch over here instead of it being back here. But that was just my personal preference. It still does work, and it just looks a little bit cleaner in my opinion compared to the backslide bar that was originally used. But yeah, these are relatively fast, especially when there's a couple more people online, especially because the mob cap is a little bit higher. So this does help quite a bit, especially for the squid farm. This thing is a little bit insane. It is only a 12 by 12 area, so that is 6 columns, 6 by 6 columns of water. There's not that many spawn spaces, but as you can see, there is quite a number of squids actually fallen, especially on the glow squid side. So those mob caps are that white number and that dark blue number. So they're both 20 each because we have 4 players online, 5 per each player, and 5 per mob cap. So despite these not being portal-based farms, they are pretty quick, and I would say they're probably a bit faster, and especially that they're easier to build and work with compared to portal farms. Now yes, we don't really get to use looting with these guys, but as you can see in the bottom here, I don't think it's needed, especially because we're going to run this for about an hour and then never need ink sacs like pretty much ever again. Glow ink really only useful for item frames and making, signs glow, which is good for us because I use it all the time. But we get about a shulker in about 5 minutes for each one, which is pretty crazy. So that is quite a number of ink sacs per hour for such a simple farm. This one, obviously, standard, the standard squid farm here. Nothing really too special about that one besides the dispensers to turn it off. That's all that really that one is. This one, however, is something you may have not seen. It's pretty much the same concept of this, but it just pushes them out to sort of increase the speed of the way everything is shot out of it. So we could basically modify the squid one here to do the same thing. However, with squid farms in 1.17, you're really limited on the size of the river. So this one works perfectly fine. There's really no need to have that. However, with glow squids, you can pretty much have them anywhere. And yes, we could have built this lower, so on. But I wanted to keep it sort of in the same height as the regular squid one. That way they don't look too out of place. Now, yes, obviously the one's a lot bigger, but if we go from above, they kind of fit each other. And this would have worked really, really well if we ever had separate farms on both sides, where we would have the switch one go into another portal and things like that. But as of right now, we are not going to move forward with that. If we, of course, get any development with that, then I will make its own separate video for a squid switch in case any of you guys are also interested something like that, because we will have something very, very soon for another mob switch that we have active on the server. This glow squid farm is by Katsuragi and the TMCA. It's where I saw it from the Discord there. I apologize if I did not pronounce the name correctly. All I did with this one is I modified the clock and I added an on-off switch for it. That way you can hard power everything and force all of the mobs to stop spawning. Now, if you don't have a mob switch on for the hostile mobs, you can actually get some of those other mobs in this, because the water disappears for a very short time, but it is possible for a mob to spawn on the deep slate there, which is what you can use to have the glow squid spawn. You can alternate this for like stone, diorite, granite, all sort of things, but I think deep slate fits our color palette the best compared to the stone. And yeah. So definitely links to the original creator for this one down in the description below, because this is pretty decent that I've seen for a glow squid farm. Obviously, this one, nothing really has changed too much with these fruits farms since very, very early on in the game, besides you need to place it in a river rather than just anywhere like we used to do it in deserts back in the old times here. So yeah, this area is pretty much done. Just gonna go turn the farms back off. That way I can leave this area. So this is the one to turn the clock off. So yeah, all I did was really is I modified the clock to be in the center here. Usually they had it on the side here. I didn't want to do that, so I modified it to be in the center, and then it cascades out like this. It's honestly a more satisfying thing to watch personally, but I guess it is just personal opinion. You can see that it goes down like a wave-like motion from the middle instead of from one side over. Just my personal opinion. I would say the clock starts off and on like that, and then when I turn the farm off, just push all of them and hard power them out. Like that. With the on-off switch, actually, it creates this cool cascading thing, because these all actually extend at the same time, but then the signal gets transferred down the line, so you can effectively get like a double pushback on these back two, compared to the front ones, which just get pulled back, and the other ones get pushed back again. Okay. Unintended, but I do like the way it looks for some odd reason. But yeah, farms are all done. They do work. And you can basically call this perimeter a success. Let's just turn the hopper minecarts off, lock them all in place. That way, if you ever run the farm again, probably for the world tour that we will do, these will actually function. So yeah, just like that, already got a joker box of both of the ink sacs. So these will be more than enough for our use case. So yeah, if you wanted to get this perimeter decoration, this will be available on the AutoCraft website. Links, of course, in the description down below for that. We are having a summer sale for all of the perimeter decorations, so those are all 75% off. So if you need to buy one of these decorations, all of them are available on the website if you wanted to do so, and that would probably be the best time. So yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, all sorts of things, and I'll see you guys in the next one.